everybody, and thank you very much for the invitation, which I was very flattered of. Yeah, especially that communication is a very complex subject, but I will try to do my best on this. First, maybe to present myself. Yeah, as I said, my name is Werner BRAUN. I'm the CEO of a group of companies which are active in new technology business like automatization, robotics, and we work in the industries of automotive mainly, and unfortunately aerospace. I say unfortunately because they are completely shut down now, which harms us a lot. But we are very confident that this will also take end and we will get back to normal business. Beside of this activity, I am since 10 years the president of the German economic club in Brașov, club which is basically formed out of companies which have German spoken capital, we call it, and we are focused on developing the economical environment, but also one of our main focus is to help improve education, and that's why we are involved in a lot of education projects. Beside of this, I had also some excursions in the political area. I was city councillor, and I don't know, unfortunately or fortunately, from this autumn I'm again city councillor here in Brașov, and I'm not yet convinced if it's good or not. But we will see. It depends a lot on communication also. How should I structure my presentation? You remember when you sent me the invitation, I tried to ask you for a little bit more precise information on what should we focus. I made now a kind of a strategy about what I will talk about. And it will be not a scientific or philosophical elaboration, because this is definitely not something I'm very good at. But during my experience, which my lifetime experience, especially in business, I learned a lot about communication. When I started thinking about this presentation, and I did some research on the internet, I've really noticed how little I know about communication. So I stopped surfing because I got depressed, and I decided to do another kind of presentation. I will talk about real life cases, cases I learned, lessons learned, yeah. The financial impact of communication. I call it financial impact because in business, everybody or every success or failure is measured in money at the end and can be measured. And I think it's a very good measure because for very many people, winning money is a great thing. Losing money hurts a lot. So next time you think twice how you do things, how you can do things better. So I will start with some examples, and please feel free. We can do it very interactive. I have no problem with that. I have also in front of me the chat, so you can send me also your questions on the chat, and I will try to answer them. So when I think about communication, there is really a wide area about communication. Yeah, as I said, because I didn't want to make a scientific presentation, I decided to not do a PowerPoint presentation on very fixed issues and numbers and studies, because I'm sure you guys are much better on this, and it would not be added value coming from me, because as I said, I could maybe do something what you can do if you get a project at the university. Maybe it would be the same quality, or even maybe less quality. So I decided to make a free speech on this and bring some examples about communication. I think the most simple and examples everybody faced so far is communication in family. So here I take my two kids, Maria and Maya. One is 10 years old, the other one is 14 years old. The small one, Maria, comes, cuddles with me, flattens me till I tell her, so now cut the bullshit and tell me what you want. Yeah. And then she immediately, the redeemed response will be, okay, can I get this, or can I go to the party next Saturday? This is a kind of communication, you see, but it's successful in most of the cases. Yeah. Whereas my other daughter, she dies of hunger before she is able to ask for something. So I try to encourage her to communicate with her, to teach her how to communicate, how to ask for simple things. And here you can see the difference already as child, how different it's also in success. Okay, this is now in family, and as a parent, you are taking care to treat them both equally, and it's your additional effort to do with Maya something that she get the same amount of success than the smaller one. But in real life, this, or outside the family, this is very often not the case, and I'm sure that Maria would be much more successful than Maya. Okay, then we have the communication, woman and man, or wife and husband. This is a topic I don't want to get in details, because I think this would need to take another magnitude of measuring the time on which we can speak about this. Real specialists did not really succeed to find the winning formula, a valid working solution. But I tell you, also here, communication consulting, the so-called shrink business, is a big business. This is a first proof communication is extremely important, and it can be also very expensive. Let's go to companies and see what is communication in the companies. So engineering and production, considering our failure monitorings inside the company, 94% of our errors occurred because of poor or lack of communication. So we really do not fight inside the company with lack of technical knowledge or missing hardware or software. No, the most of the highest number of errors comes because of communication. We are a design companies. We do detailed design, scientific work. We fight with thousands of millimeter, have all kind of expensive software and routines, but very often we do not pay attention to basic communication. Yeah, we work in automotive design. Automotive design is a process of continuous changing. The customer changes his requests continuously. Also, very often before we have to deliver the project, he comes with totally new information. We have to redo it. Yeah. my colleagues are upset, I'm very happy, because these are additional money we can earn, yeah, with these issues. So if you don't keep track, and you have to keep written track of all this changing, and this communication has to be documented, this can lead to very, very expensive errors. There is a golden rule. You and the customer or the supplier are best friends till a problem happens and somebody needs to overtake the responsibility and of the error, or yeah, then the real fight will start, and you have no friends anymore, depending on the gravity of the failure and the costs of the failure. Then you will notice that how important and how safe reliable communication process, which, as I said, needs also to be documented, can be. Okay, we paid a fortune to learn this, not in tools, but in experience and in fines. And so probably this will still continue, but I'm very happy if every year which passes, the percentage of this fine gets lower. Okay, so the art of communication is really to find the optimum amount of communication, to calibrate the communication to the needs, the risk, the value of the project, so that you can drive it safe, to navigate safe back into the harbor. Okay, I think in business, in companies, another very important issue or part of the business where the sales is, the communication is very important, is sales. I think there are two things needed for successful sales. One is a good product, and the second one is a very good communication. Often only one of them is enough. In my business life, I came across of many fantastic projects which did not make it on the market because of poor sales or wrong sales strategy, or really complete lack of sales. So a good product very seldom sells from its own. I have a good example. I used to work in 5 different countries, and before coming to Romania, I worked in California in semiconductor industry, which is industry which is very, very dynamic. You have to consider, just look at your phone, how it looked 10 years ago and how it looks now. Everyone sees only the success of the software developers, but I think the main success is the success of the semiconductor industry. Even on one chip some years ago, you could put a few thousand of transistors on a square centimeter of silicon. Now you can put hundreds of millions of transistors on such a square centimeter of silicon, and this gives the real computation power, the real memory amount of such a mobile. Considering this very dynamic business, and you know, you are successful only the 3-4 companies which bring a new semiconductor on the market, only there make the real money. Afterwards, everybody comes with a similar design, similar product, and you can make money only by selling huge amounts of pieces. So the money comes from the volume. That's why the fight is very aggressive. I used to work for a company which was called Monterey Design, and we were developing software for transistor placement and routing on the silicon. This is a manufacturing technology, And we had one competitor, it was called Magma. Both of them were startups, yeah, startups which need to be extremely dynamic, it's extremely flexible, because this makes them different to the bigger companies, to the multinational companies, which are very slow movers in terms of flexibility, in terms of new trends. So a startup, this is the main advantage of that startup, and he needs to take benefit out of this. So whereas Magma came with a very aggressive communication, and it was a very simple one. It was based on one single, on 2 or 3 words: yes, we can do, yes, 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 yeah. Everything what the customer asked for, they were able to do. Even so, realistically, their software did maybe not even half of that what they promised. On the other side, the company I worked on, Monterey Design, was a more conservative company, where we really said, we can do this, but we need some time. Our software does not do it at the moment, but we can implement it, or we are not 100% sure, but we will try. So the concept of Magma was having a very aggressive communication, saying yes, yes to everything, convincing the customer to buy. We talked here of 80 or 90 or 100 million euros deal. Yeah, that's what the value of this kind of softwares. If a manager makes the decision to buy this kind of software, he will not very easily reckon that he did a wrong decision. So he did everything what was possible to convince the lying company, which he contracted, to really implement the things or part of the things they're promised. Yeah, whereas we stayed outside of the door and were thinking, did we do it right? No, of course. It's maybe not the most honest communication you can do and sales, but they've been successful, because at the end, after long struggle, they succeed to make the software working. Of course, it was not the time promised in 1 month, or we install it, it works. It works in 1 year, in 1.5 years, but together they are working as quick as possible. Okay. But this is a little bit a different communication, and probably you noticed that in US there is a different, totally different communication. They are the masters of communication, of marketing. Every time we went to a fair, we got trained tips and tricks how to communicate, and in terms of talking or interacting with the potential customer. Even so, we said, oh, it's again, I had this training last year, 2 years ago, or half a year ago. No, they were so peculiar that they said in half a year or 1 year, the habits change, the trends are different. We have to teach you on the new trends, on everything. What you have to communicate is crucial. And I must tell you, this is a very good strategy in terms of it leads you to, in many cases, to success, and gives you a big advantage compared to your customer. There was a saying, then sales is communication, or communication is sales. Yeah, it's clearly that in sales you need a very good communication. But also, communication is sales. Sounds strange, but it is in any terms. If you have an elevated and cultivated communication, and you do not, even if you do not sell anything, you are wrong. Unconsciously, you market yourself. People get a better impression of you. They start valuing you, and the return of invest may be midterm, but it definitely will turn up. You will leave a good impression, and you will be a person which, how you say, is very accepted by many people, and some kind you polarize. Yeah, I think if everybody of you thinks a little bit, it will come in his mind a product which is not really good, but due to very good or very aggressive or very intensive communication, it is a bestseller or it's overrated compared to products which are much better than others, but where maybe there is no power for this strong marketing or communication. But this is something you have to bear in mind if you want to start a business. A big part of your business is communication, of your success. So if you don't know to communicate, and we go now through different stages of a company, and you see in nearly every stage, department of the company, you need good communication, you need precise communication, you need to learn how you communicate with your colleagues, with your superiors, but also with your customer, and of course also with your suppliers. Especially in this new economy we are in e-shopping, we do not even touch or test the product anymore. So the success of selling or the decision of buying something is mainly based on the communication, how you communicate it in terms of a story, of a video, how you can convince the customer to buy this product. This all is communication, and it gets more and more important. The only things which changes is maybe it's different colors, it's different techniques. We use Facebook, we use all kind of multimedia. Probably now at the moment, if you remember, or probably not, but you see it from the movies, how years ago sales, when I started working, how sales did work. Yeah, it was a lot of visiting customer, a lot of nice flyers we had to do, advertising, some advertising in newspaper or in magazines. Yeah, but now from the picture we come then to presentation. Yeah, then from the presentation we come to video, and you will see video production will increase a lot, and this is the future of communication in terms of sales. So we will not have only a picture with some words below advertising for that product, but we will communicate with either podcasts like, yeah, but also we will communicate definitely in future with video. Everything will be done through this. Okay, we talked a little bit about how important communication is in a company. We started, as I said, in production, in technical communication. Then we went through sales. The other thing is, of course, the internal communication inside of a company, starting with how you convince a potential employee to really come to decide to enter your company, but also how you communicate with your colleagues, how you communicate with your teams in terms to be performant, but also in terms that you achieve what you want in business, but you keep also a very good and friendly environment, so that your people feel well and they feel acquainted into this company. Okay, I would go further now and extrapolate communication, and I think this is a very, very hot topic, and I think you can imagine of hundreds of examples. What do we do as a country, as Romania, wrong in communication? I think one of our biggest problem in Romania is lack of communication, or very poor communication, or the poor quality of communication. We do not value communication. This is one of the most severe failures we do. Once I've been with some state employees in an interactive international conference where everybody came up and presented with PowerPoint, with their products or their industry. This was an issue to promote the industry of Romania. And we turned up with some lousy papers, DIN A4 papers, with nearly no picture, with a long text, and this was put in a dosar cușină, if you remember it. Yeah, and this we distributed to the other members, and the colleague I was with was starting reading what was written, the long text inside of this dosar cușină. I think the result was that many people got asleep, and probably when they went out the room, they just binned it, the dosar cușină, and except of the coffee discussion, I think we had no benefit out of this. So this is how we prepare, how we appear, how we show ourselves to, let me say, our customers, to our partners. And I think at country level, we do need to have a coherent strategy. We don't have this to promote our industry. I give you a small example. In Brașov, the device which mounted Ariane 6, yeah, was developed completely by a Romanian company from Brașov, but you never heard it in the news. You never heard it somewhere else in any other documentation, because I think for some people this is not interesting. This is not an achievement, or I don't know why. I would be proud. Another thing very strange is in Brașov, for example, we do have a company which do this automatic parking station. They are you park your car downstairs, and then a lift comes and puts the car in a slot somewhere. Then you come with your ticket, and the lift comes and picks from level 3, line 25, the car. So it saves a lot of space. It is safe because no thief can go into this parking slot. Yeah, but the only city or only country where they did not build this, where do you think it is? Brașov, and also very few or nearly no one in Romania. It's in Hungary, it's in Israel, it's in many other countries, but we are not interested to do this. As a mayor, I would do everything that I could make it possible for this company to build such a parking house. I would put it in glass, and every visitor who comes, I would go there and show them, look, this is Brașov technology. Yeah, we are a high-tech city, and there are hundreds of examples of this where we really do good things, and we should be proud of this, and we should communicate this so that our customers and our also visitors become, through this presentation, a customer. So this is I think, something we completely underrated and completely underestimate the power of this kind of communication we should do. We proposed also sometimes that any what is the Romanian word, the English word now, sens giratorio, roundabout, yeah, roundabout should be given to one company, and this company could do the design inside of this roundabout and promote the company. So everybody, or the products they are doing, of course, in a very decent way, not but with a very well defined and very sharp statement of work, so they look in a proper way. But that's how we could promote the technology, the achievements which the local companies are doing had so far. So, but this again is something which we proposed it. We didn't even have the said we don't want it that you do it like we propose it, but let's sit together and discuss about this kind of thing, on how we communicate about the achievements we have in our city or even in our country.
Okay, Mr. Braun, I presume that your nice stories just arouse interest for questions and for knowing more about these details of communication challenges. So I suggest that we switch a little to our public so that they can ask questions, make comments, ask for clarifications if the case. So our dear students from both sections, if you are still alive and not asleep, please, well, make your presence heard.
Yes, I'm very glad to respond to your questions, or I would really appreciate if this would get interactive discussion. I still have some things to present, but I value more the interactive discussions.
Well, same for us. Let's see if the public would respond, please.
May I start?
Yes, please.
Okay. Given the fact that you are a German and you are working in Romania, can you make a short comparison about how Germans communicate in business and how Romanians communicate?
I will give you first some figures, and this will give you, you know, China is the emerging market, yeah? And you know, there is World Fair once a year, like we have it in Hanover in Europe. The World Fair of Industry or so is in China. Germany invested $1 billion for their stand there. Now, I think it makes no sense to ask you how much did Romania invest for the Romanian stand there. I was many times with the Rom Expo, or how it's called, on the Romanian on fairs. Yeah, fairs which were paid by, subvented by the Ministry of Economy, which I think is a very, very good initiative, because it gives possibility to mid-sized company or small company is to present themselves, because as you probably know, the very well-known fairs are also very expensive as the exhibit floor. So this was of a big aid. And I give you another example. At every exhibition, there is in one evening, let me say, the Dutch evening, the French evening. At the Romanian evening, we usually had sticks and a little bit of coffee, and that's it. We had no traditional products. We had no nothing to be really attractive. This changed in the last 2, 3, 4 years, but the years before, it was a disaster. It was a shame to invite somebody to your stand. And this is, of course, also partially because of the organizers, because they had a budget from the Ministry of Economy and Industry.
Mhm.
But I don't know, this vanished or whatever. We will not discuss this issue. But on the other side, also we as the exhibitors did not value this. If everybody of us, one would bring a bottle of Zuika, the other one would bring something else, yeah, we could attract people because we have the products to attract people, yeah, and to feel them, to make them to feel well. So this is one of the examples. Then other example is
Perhaps inside companies, what are the differences in communication?
a lot bigger budget for sales and marketing, definitely.
Okay.
And the big difference is also that there is a process, a strategy which is planned. Yeah, because if you save money in communication, you save definitely on the wrong side.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Another thing is to organize themselves in clusters, in economic clubs, in this kind of things. So you give the possibility to the companies, also to the local companies, to know about the customers close by. Yeah, we, for example, in the German Economic Club, we had a lot of experience where we searched for a supplier in the foreign countries and we had it close by. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but we didn't know it. Yeah, so why do we not know it? I give you a simple question. Do you think that somewhere in Romania we will find the number of companies in aviation? I don't think so.
I don't know the field, but
Yeah, any other field. Tell me any other field, and I'm 100% sure that we will be. It will be very difficult to find the company somewhere in some or institution or database or whatever.
Statistics, which with the names of the companies and so on.
Yeah, but here is also a problem because depending on what is this name of in the Chamber of Commerce, you have this, what's the name? Obiectul activității, it's a number.
activity field.
Yeah, and based on this, the statistic either are done by a wrong selection criterias or, but it's very, very difficult. Look, I found it this year, the cluster for medtech, technical medicine. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I was very surprised that founding this customers, the return of invest, let me say, it's not for me, but for this cluster was only by finding out what kind of companies. I never thought that in county of Brasov, we have so many companies in this field and area. If I go to the Chamber of Commerce, and I know what I'm talking of because I'm also in the board of that, so it's also mea culpa. Yeah, it's very difficult to find them. Yeah, so we need to find by our own solution how to put them together to how you say, amplify or the business near shore. Yeah, why should we go and look in Hungary, in Poland, or wherever, in Germany, in France for a supplier when we have it next door? And the
So
difference,
you have to found a cluster for aviation in order to see what suppliers do we have on the market. But speaking about the chambers of commerce, there is a big difference between Germany and Romania because you have a very long tradition with the Chamber of Commerces. And as far as I know, it was compulsory for all companies to be a member in such a chamber till some years ago. In Romania, we didn't have this obligation for the company. So they are not so informed of what is happening on the market, in my opinion.
Yes, this is for sure a reason. It's still compulsory to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce. But yeah, I'm not very happy about this. Our company is GmbH and KG. So I have to pay even for the Chamber of Commerce for the GmbH, for the Serele, but also for the Kommandit. So I pay twice, which is, you see, also in Germany, it's not everything very...
very cheap.
Very nice.
Not very cheap, but not very... What sense does it make that one company, even if it's a SRL and Kommandit, has to pay twice the tax for the Chamber of Commerce? But yeah, these are, but in terms of the quality and in terms of the work they're doing, it's not optimum, but it's way better than what we have at the moment here.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question?
As well, if the students would want to ask some questions.
Hello. I have a question regarding the aviation industry. How do you expect the communication to evolve in the next few years because of this corona crisis? How do you expect them to get back the customers?
Yeah, this will be very difficult, considering that you know that at the moment the forecast is that it will need 5 to 6 years for aviation to get there. At least this is a very optimistic estimation, that they will get to the same level as in 2019. In terms of to get back now, we have to differentiate. Do you mean the industry of manufacturing, production, or the operators like Tarom, or because there will be definitely different approaches here?
Mainly the operators.
Yeah, for the operators, unfortunately, this will be a very tough issue, because I mean, one of the main problem of this crisis was that we could not plan. You could not plan with everything. You didn't know how long this crisis will do. You didn't know what the government decision will be. Will they allow one passenger sitting on one row, or 2 or 6, or so it's very difficult to predict and to invest into this. But one of the major issues here, and I think if there will not be state aid or for exactly communication and bringing convincing the people that flying is safe again, it will be very difficult and very tough to recover in short time. Of course, it will be dependent very much on the success of the vaccine. When I say the success of the vaccine, it means how many people will be willing to get vaccinated. On the other side, it's a very tough decision for every country. And also, what will be the law say? You will be allowed to fly if you have a vaccine. Yeah. If not, you are not allowed to fly. So these are all things which are not decided yet, which the aerospace companies, the operators, they don't know, and it's very difficult for them to make decisions on it. So unfortunately, more precise, and I'm also afraid to give estimation, a precise estimation on when it will recover. I can just tell you that the numbers of the ordered aircrafts reduced by 80%.
Wow.
80%. Yeah, so this is also what damaged a lot the aerospace industry, the companies manufacturing or developing or this kind. Of course, Airbus and Boeing, there are not, but there are like state-owned companies. Yeah, not even Europe, not even US can afford to lose Airbus or Boeing. So they will help them, they will give them subvention to survive. The problem is what happens with the tier 1, the system supplier, tier 1 supplier, tier 2 supplier, or tier 3 supplier, like we are, for example. Nobody really cares if you get bankrupt or not, if you're insolvency or not. So this is, let me say, a little bit the tragedy, but we will recover. Yeah, in aerospace, I think now the main rule is try to survive.
All right, thank you.
I would have a question as well, if I may. Speaking about the aerospace industry, how do you expect the Gimbab airport to impact both on the VK and on your business?
I think the Gimbab airport has a big impact on tourism, and Brașov is the #1 location in Romania for tourism. And here it will have a very positive and very good impact. On the industry itself, on the business community, of course, there will be also impact, but this impact will be dependent on the offer of the flights. For example, for me, it's very important also to have a train connection to Bucharest, but to Bucharest airport. In Bucharest, from Bucharest, I have 6 flights to the major cities per day, to Munich, to Vienna, this will give the opportunity for the business people to fly for one meeting out and come back at the same day, which in this COVID situation maybe also will be easier to be done. For example, if you just fly there and same day fly out, maybe you don't need as much as of a checking, or you don't have to go in quarantine or this kind of things. So I think it will be very dependent on how the airport of Brașov will be able to negotiate with the companies, the frequency and the hourly placement of the flights. If we will have one flight every second day, or one flight is flying out and 2 hours later it flies back, this is something which some of the business people will not honor. But I think it's a very good thing for Brașov, but we have to be also very realistic. It will be a very tough competition. We have in the range of 150 kilometers 3 airports, or 4 airports. It's Bucharest, Brașov, Sibiu, Mureș. They are all 140, 150 kilometers, the other 3 away from Brașov. So there will be a tough competition. But competition, yeah, is a positive thing, and I think the airport of Brașov could be a very important economical boost in the next year.
Thank you.
We thank a lot Mr. BRAUN for exchanging with us some insights from his business field, and also from the level of more general, so to say, communication of a German businessman with the Romanian environment in all its respective aspects. It was a very interesting and provocative insight in a different perspective. Just a curiosity, maybe you've said that, but I wasn't able to recall it. For how many years are you doing business in Romania now?
15 years.
Okay, very nice. So quite a lot. You seem to know a lot of words in Romanian and some symptoms like dosar cu șină. We are talking a lot about digitalizing business and well, getting rid of bureaucracy. You seem to have some traumas in this field. Well, everyone doing business in Romania unfortunately knows what dosar cu șină is, but hopefully that's going to become obsolete at a certain moment. Okay, so thank you very much. Hope to see you again at a later moment if you have the pleasure of sharing again with us some of your experience and background.
Thank you very much for inviting me. As I said, we are very involved in education. We take care a lot of young people. We start from nearly kindergarten. Yeah, we have a nice project called Mini Technicus, which starts from the kindergarten to the 12th grade. Then we have the Școala Profesională. We have dual master, which is also governed by us at the university in Brașov, and of course we help people if they graduate. We have a lot of projects we do for graduation with our young students, and of course also if you want even go further for doctorate or something similar, we are very often a good partner for our young students.
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
You're welcome, and all the best and success in your career to everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Oh.
Bye.